I'm Wade Johnson in New York, and we're coming on the air at this hour with breaking news. President Trump expected to make his first statements on camera about that deadly airstrike killing Iran's top general in Baghdad. President Trump stepping up to the podium right now in Mar-a-Lago.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. As president, my highest and most solemn duty is the defense of our nation and its citizens. Last night, at my direction, the United States military successfully executed a flawless precision strike that killed the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world, Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel, but we caught him in the act and terminated him. Under my leadership, America's policy is unambiguous to terrorists who harm or intend to harm any American. We will find you. We will eliminate you. We will always protect our diplomats, service members, all Americans, and our allies. For years, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and its ruthless Quds Force under Soleimani's leadership has targeted, injured, and murdered hundreds of American civilians and servicemen. The recent attacks on U.S. targets in Iraq, including rocket strikes that killed an American and injured 4 American servicemen very badly, as well as a violent assault on our embassy in Baghdad, were carried out at the direction of Soleimani. Soleimani made the death of innocent people his sick passion, contributing to terrorist plots as far away as New Delhi and London. Today, we remember and honor the victims of Soleimani's many atrocities, and we take comfort in knowing that his reign of terror is over. Soleimani has been perpetrating acts of terror to destabilize the Middle East for the last 20 years. What the United States did yesterday should have been done long ago. A lot of lives would have been saved. Just recently, Soleimani led the brutal repression of protesters in Iran, where more than 1,000 innocent civilians were tortured and killed by their own government. We took action last night to stop a war. We did not take action to start a war. I have deep respect for the Iranian people. They are a remarkable people with an incredible heritage and unlimited potential. We do not seek regime change. However, the Iranian regime's aggression in the region, including the use of proxy fighters to destabilize its neighbors, must end, and it must end now. The future belongs to the people of Iran, those who seek peaceful coexistence and cooperation, not the terrorist warlords who plunder their nation to finance bloodshed abroad. The United States has the best military by far anywhere in the world. We have the best intelligence in the world. If Americans anywhere are threatened, we have all of those targets already fully identified, and I am ready and prepared to take whatever action is necessary. And that in particular refers to Iran. Under my leadership, we have destroyed the ISIS territorial caliphate. And recently, American Special Operations Forces killed the terrorist leader known as al-Baghdadi. The world is a safer place without these monsters. America will always pursue the interests of good people, great souls, while seeking peace, harmony, and friendship with all of the nations of the world. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. President.
President Trump right there, not taking any questions from reporters there, speaking in Mar-a-Lago for the first time since that U.S. military strike that took out Iran General Qasem Soleimani. And one of the key things that he said there, he said that what the U.S. did yesterday should have been done long ago. We took action last night to stop a war. We did not take action to start a war. Let's bring in our Martha Raddatz, our chief global affairs correspondent. Martha, just want to get your reaction to what the president said right there at the podium.
Well, as you said, Whit, saying that they took action to stop a war, not start a war, it is still very unclear what kind of response Iran will have. But what is clear is they will likely have some sort of response, and it could be a violent response. We have already heard the State Department tell all Americans in Iraq to immediately leave the country, and we are sending in 3,500 additional troops. We have already sent in close to 1,000 troops in the last week. So we are building up a presence there. It is very unclear whether this could or might lead to war.
Martha, Iran's Ayatollah calling for revenge as a response to this. And you mentioned the troops heading into the Middle East, 3,500. President Trump himself for months has been talking about trying to de-escalate tension in the region, trying to bring troops home and not continue fighting in these endless wars. Where does this leave things right now in this current escalation?
Well, we have about 60 to 70,000 troops in Central Command in the area around the Mideast and in Afghanistan. And President Trump came into office exactly as you said, Whit, saying he wants to get out of the Middle East. But of course, he ripped up the American part of the nuclear deal with Iran. This takes it in a very different direction. This isn't about a nuclear agreement. This isn't about long-range missiles or ballistic missiles with Iran. This is about threats on the ground in the Middle East, and we've seen that buildup of troops, exactly what President Trump said he did not want to do. But he repeated again today, he wants to do this to keep Americans safe. He has very strong feelings about what was about to happen, said there was intelligence that there was an attack that was imminent, as Pompeo said today, Secretary of State Pompeo. So that's why he's taking this action. That's why he took out Soleimani.
All right, Martha Raddatz for us. Thank you. You mentioned those imminent attacks. That's what Pompeo said. Also, the president himself said Soleimani was planning imminent and sinister attacks. Let's go to our Terry Moran, our senior national correspondent in Washington, following all of this. Terry, what are we hearing from the White House right now?
Well, right now we aren't hearing much. I think one of the things that was very important in President Trump's remarks there is that in the past, remember after the killing of al-Baghdadi, the ISIS leader, he sort of dunked on the moment a little bit and in great and detailed fashion talked about the nature of the attack and how great it was, how much pain the Americans inflicted on ISIS with that. This was very straightforward. He did say this is something that should have been done long ago, and I think you see in that almost caution, if you can use that word with President Trump, how tense, how delicate, how fragile and dangerous this moment is. And it is in part because with this attack and other things, President Trump is breaking the rules. He's changing the rules of the game in the Middle East. Maybe for better, maybe for worse. That remains to be seen. But right now, waiting on the Iranian response, there is a question because it hasn't happened before. Qasem Soleimani is a man who, as the president said, for 20 years has been killing Americans and others, American forces in Iraq and elsewhere. He could have been targeted for years, but he's one of the most popular leaders in Iran. Previous presidents have decided not to go after him. Here was an order from this president to do it. And to put Iran on notice to try and back them off from the much more aggressive posture that Iran has taken since the president tore up that nuclear agreement and doubled down on the sanctions. So what you see is the continuation of President Trump's hard line up to a point that has reached a level of intensity we haven't seen in that region in a long time.
And that Iranian response almost guaranteed, but the question now is what will it be? And that is difficult to predict. Let's bring in our Pierre Thomas, our senior justice correspondent, who's also standing by in Washington right now. And Pierre, many cities we've seen here in New York, Los Angeles on high alert right now, trying to see, protect any potential activity, any proxy attacks or something like that in the U.S. We understand there's no imminent attack or threat here in terms of our U.S. cities. But what are you learning as far as what we're doing here in Homeland Security, and also just cyber security is a big concern as well?
Whit, you're exactly right. No specific threat has been identified, but U.S. law enforcement officials have long believed and have evidence that Iran does have capabilities inside the United States. For example, in 2018, 2 Iranians were charged with being operatives of that government, doing surveillance inside the United States. And just 3 months ago, in September, a New Jersey man was charged with being connected with Hezbollah, of doing surveillance inside the United States, specifically in New York, looking at the Statue of Liberty, the World Trade Center, the Times Square area, places like that, of doing surveillance. He was known as a bomb maker with training from Hezbollah as well. So they know that Iran has capability inside the United States. So that is why you see a level of concern about Iran. Also, you mentioned cyber. Iran has been involved in a number of cyber attacks inside the United States, according to U.S. officials, including attacks on financial institutions and even infrastructure. So, Whit, this is something that the United States officials believe there's potential for concern for, so they're urging vigilance.
All right, Pierre Thomas Forrest, thank you. Once again, the president pointing out he took this action to stop a war, not action to start a war. Again, the president speaking for the first time since the U.S. strike that took out that top Iranian general. We will have much more on this continuing and developing story on abcnews.com and on our ABC News Live channel. You can also get breaking alerts on the ABC News app. Of course, we'll have the very latest and a full wrap-up on World News Tonight. I'm Whit Johnson in New York. We'll send you back to regular programming. Have a good day.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.